Alright, picking up where I left off last video. Now, you're probably thinking, man, it's gotten a little late since your last video. Well, this is when I could do it. Alright, this is discussing one trade for this double shot. Part 1 discussed the final trade of Brian Michael Bendis' run for Action Comics and the run for Superman Comics as a whole. This is discussing World's Finest, Volume 2. And this is called Hunt and Hunted. Let's collect issues 6 to 12 of this series. Yes. And yes, it still focuses on Power Girl and the Huntress. Now, at the start of this book, she still wears this attire. Into issue 12. Yes, in the book, they do not say where she got the new outfit from or why in the world she split attires. Yes, it's kind of weird. Like, if you're curious though, when in the world did Power Girl switch to her more familiar look that she's now wearing? That actually happened in the pages of Supergirl. Yes, as a matter of fact, Supergirl makes a brief cameo in this book. Yep, the whole point of that is separate appearance of Supergirl. And here's a little fun fact for you about that volume for Supergirl. That was Power Girl's sole appearance in the book. Yes, seriously, sole appearance. Yep. So, this one mostly just Power Girl, just simply introducing her satellite. Of course, when she comes in, her clothes get burned. Basically, she's coming back to Earth butt naked. Lucky enough, she's landing near the coastline near her home. And luckily enough, her sister has no problem seeing her butt naked. Yes, and her company, Star Technologies. Yes, in case you're curious though, did she have this company pre-Flashpoint? Yes, she did. Yep, she kept the company post-Flashpoint. Yeah, this, I only guess the reason why Paul Levitz, the writer of this book, kept this. I'll talk about the artist. Basically, this actually was his last book he did for DC. Yeah, and it's kind of weird to say at least of why he stopped doing books for DC after he finished reading this book. So, basically, they're about to do a party, and then, look, here comes Michael Holt, because Holt Technologies is basically kind of in a weird place since, Michael Holt disappeared. Oh, look, he's here. Except this is not Michael Holt. Nope. Who is it, you might ask? It's Decide. No, I'm not kidding about that. It's frickin' Decide. From Apocalypse. That stuff with Power Girl. In the case of Huntress, she runs into the Damian Robin. Yes, he pops up here for a couple issues. And then there was an issue to deal with the Robin Reckoning stuff. Basically where it's mostly like, a lot of the books at DC at that point had a whole month dedicated to basically people reacting to Damian's death. Like this happened, obviously, Batman and Robin, an issue of Batman, the comics, Batgirl, and Nightwing. Yep. This book, surprisingly, the reason why they included it is he had just met her. And even when he met her, like you have his eyes. And it's, of course, Huntress saying it's Damian. And, of course, Damian says to Huntress, you do too. And, of course, they refer to her as brother and sister. And here's the thing about this. You know the weird thing about this is, their meeting, it was mentioned briefly in the First Contact crossover, which is basically these two meeting Earth Prime's version of Superman and Batman. Yes, seriously, that's when they meet. Now, in case you're curious though, does Huntress ever meet Robin again after these two issues? The answer is no. She never does. She never runs into her brother ever again. Oh, in case you're curious though, does this version of Power Girl run into Supergirl ever again? Nope, never does. It's mostly confined in this book, and they move on to Earth 2 and Earth 2 Society for these two. Yep. And of course, Huntress reacts to Damian's death very emotionally. I got him. Paul Levitz does a great job with that. Yeah, and because the fact with Michael Holt, even though that decides impersonating him, and the fact that Power Girl tried to out him, apparently this caused bad publicity for a company, caused her stock to take a dump, take a little bit of a crash in the stock market. Yeah, and of course, everybody basically is like chastising her for over this action. Now, yeah, and then of course we lead into stuff related to more action stuff later on. At least this point in time, it looks like something is happening. Yes, this book basically was accused of like a long time for it took to issue 12 for something had to happen because during the first arc it seems like nothing much happens. Just basically these two chatting about Earth 2. This one feels like more progression here. Yes, definitely it does. And here's a fun fact for you about one of the artists of this book, George Perez. This is, to date, the last official book he officially worked on for DC. There was also New Teen Titans Games, which I have read, it's really good. Except that book was originally written back in the 80s. And it wasn't published until present day. So, you could kind of say this was George Perez's last book he did. And you want to know how long this came out? Roughly 10 years ago. Yep. Like after he basically was on this book for the first 9 issues as the artist. Yeah, one of 2 books he was working at this point. The other was Superman. Of course, that book he was doing the writing and artwork. Yep. Of course, you also have Kevin McGuire as the co-artist of this book, though he leaves after a brief period of time. Here are your other artists outside of Kevin McGuire and George Perez. You have Cafu, who actually took over from him after issue number 6, I think it was. Kevin McGuire basically was majority. I think he was the artist for a lot of this run. You also have Sandra Hope, Jan Keller. Sandra Hope, I believe this is an artist usually works with 20S whenever he does the writing. Phil Jimenez, Ken Lashley, Barry Kitson, Robinson Rucka, Wayne Flucher, George Bogus, and J.P. Meyer. Ryan Snook does his cover artwork, which is, of course, really good. Yeah, this is definitely a really good book. It feels as though this could have been like the second. This could have been like an official. Like, you could say with this book, it's like the very next thing. And it feels as though stuff is happening. Now, you might be curious, though, okay? Like, by the way, I give this book a 9.5 out of 10, just really good. And you might be curious, though, like, how many more trades are left to go for this run, you might ask? Not many. It's like... Actually, it's about 3. Yeah, it's roughly about 3 books. It's basically volumes 3, 4, and 5. Though 4, I mostly covered this one in the Batman Superman issues. Yeah, so I've mostly covered volume 4. So when I get a chance to review that one, I'm probably going to review just the annual in issue 18. Or probably just the annual. I might skip this one because, well, I reviewed most of it already. Yeah, that's the thing. I probably have mostly reviewed this one already. I think it was, 18 is at the start of the crossover. I think 19 is the start of it. Yeah. It's a very brief crossover. It starts with World's Finest 19 and it concludes with issue 21. So, at least with that one, basically, I can probably either skip the trade, or I can probably just review the whole thing. Yeah, it just depends. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this particular review. I can't do my videos like it's gonna have late. So tomorrow, expect to see reviews for Boruto and Attack on Titan, and maybe Nerd Comic Corner. Maybe. Okay. Next video. Bye.